Hello and welcome to the 720 Credit Score Challenge. Our mission is to provide you with a set of simple steps that allow you to dramatically improve your credit score quickly, stop being treated unfairly by banks and credit card companies, and start keeping more of your hard-earned money. In today's lesson, you are going to learn where to get your credit score and your credit report. Now, this seems like a simple step, but you will learn exactly how hard it is to get your hands on your true credit score. And you will see the system is stacked against people like you and me. Instead, the system is set up so that the banks can take even more of your money. But today, you are going to learn how to start fighting back by learning the rules of this unfair game. Let's start by pretending that you plan to buy a car. You decide to check out your credit score ahead of time. This way, you can estimate what your car payment will be. Now, where would you go to pull your credit score? If you're like most people, you would hear a catchy jingle on the TV or the radio, perhaps from a website like annualcreditreport.com. And this is where your trouble would start. Every online site that sells or gives away a credit score uses a different formula for calculating its credit score. Some of them use a formula that produces scores that range from 300 to 850. Others range from 500 to 1100. And still others range from 600 to 950. The credit score that lenders use is called a FICO score. FICO is based on a formula that most lenders consider highly reliable in predicting a person's creditworthiness. The trouble is, only one online site sells FICO scores. That's right. If you buy your credit score online, you probably will not receive the credit score that lenders will use when they pull your credit report and determine the terms of your loan. Let me give you a real-life example of the difference between a FICO score and a credit score purchase from annualcreditreport.com. Now, this happened to Philip Tyrone, founder of the 7 Steps to a 720 Credit Score. When Philip was creating the 7 Steps to a 720 Credit Score program, he went to annualcreditreport.com, ran his credit report, and paid for his credit scores. You see, a lot of people don't know this, but while you get a free credit report from annualcreditreport.com, you do not get a free credit score. You will always have to pay to get your credit score from Annual Credit Report. And guess what? You will not get a FICO credit score from Annual Credit Report. Like most websites that sell credit scores, Annual Credit Report sells a credit score based on a formula that is totally worthless. Almost every single lender out there, including Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, use the FICO credit score, and none of them use the score provided by Annual Credit Report. The same day that Philip bought his credit score from Annual Credit Report, he asked his mortgage company to pull his FICO credit score. These two different credit scores, the one provided by Annual Credit Report and the FICO score provided by his mortgage company, were pulled on the exact same day. And yet, Philip's FICO score was 237 points lower than the score he received from Annual Credit Report. 237 points lower. If he had relied on the information sold to him by Annual Credit Report, he would have thought his credit score was 237 points higher than it actually was. This happens all of the time. Just recently, Philip conducted another experiment. This time, he pulled and paid for his credit score from 11 different places all on the same day. And guess what? He got 11 different credit scores. And his FICO scores were the lowest of the bunch. In fact, FICO scores are almost always lower than the scores you will get from most online credit scoring websites. You can see why this is a big problem. Imagine again that you're planning on buying a car. You pull your credit score from an online source, and you think your credit score is higher than it actually is. When you march onto that car lot, you are prepared to pay a certain interest rate. Trouble is, your FICO score is lower than the score you think you have. So you've calculated your interest rate incorrectly. Of course, by this point, you've already picked out a car. Now it's time to sign on the dotted line. What are you going to do? Chances are you will either, 1, accept the higher interest rate and pay more than you budgeted, or 2, buy a less expensive car so that your budget can accommodate the higher interest payment. Here's what you probably won't do. Walk away from the car lot, increase your credit score, and come back when your interest rate is lower. Good news for the bank, bad news for you. The good news for you, though, is that you can get your FICO score. If you know a mortgage broker and are planning on buying a home in the future, you can always ask the mortgage broker to run your FICO score. But if you're going to buy your credit score online, the only website you should ever go to is www.720ficoscore.com. Okay, that bears repeating. The one and only place you should ever buy your credit score from is www.720ficoscore.com. When you go to FICO's website, you will see that you can buy your TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian credit scores. And this is where things really start to get confusing. There are 3 credit bureaus responsible for collecting information about your payment history. These 3 bureaus are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. But not all lenders report to all the bureaus. Some credit cards, for instance, might report only to TransUnion. Others might report to Equifax and Experian. Still others will report to all 3 of the bureaus. Once the bureaus get payment information about you from your creditors, they apply intricate formulas to this information. These formulas are designed to predict the likelihood that you will pay your bills on time. So think of the formulas like recipes. There are a lot of different recipes for chocolate cake out there, and some, well, they're definitely better than others. Like I said, FICO is the formula that lenders like the best. Now, remember when I said that the 3 bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, all have slightly different information about your payment history. This means that even though the FICO formula is used by all 3 of the bureaus, your scores will likely be different among the 3 bureaus. I know this information might be a little bit confusing, so if you want additional explanation of how they all work together, be sure to check out the PDF document that accompanies this credit lesson. For now, the important thing to know is that when lenders pull your credit report, the lenders are given all 3 scores. Then, they ignore the highest score and the lowest score. Instead, they determine your loan terms based on the score that falls in the middle. So here's an example. If your Experian score is 721, your Equifax score is 719, and your TransUnion score is 650, the lenders will ignore the Experian and TransUnion scores. The lender will consider your credit score to be 719. Now, when you go to www.720ficoscore.com, there are 2 things you're going to notice. First, the web address will redirect you to www.myfico.com. A lot of people are worried that this is a mistake. It is not. We own the 720ficoscore.com URL, and we redirect it to the exact place on myfico.com where you can buy your credit score. If you go to myfico.com directly, you might get confused with all the other things they sell on their website. We want to give you a direct path to buying your credit score, so our URL will always be redirected accordingly. The second thing you will notice is that you will have to pay for your 3 scores. The cost will be about $60, but it is $60 well spent because you will be getting the same score that all of the banks use when determining your interest rate. And this brings me to another point. You cannot get your FICO credit score online for free, and any website that tells you otherwise is not being honest with you. FICO sometimes offer programs where they will offer one score for free as an incentive to sign up for some other program, but you will never be given all 3 scores for free. Okay, so this brings me to your action item for the week. This week, you have only one homework assignment. 1. Go to www.720ficoscore.com and buy your TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax credit scores. When you buy your credit scores, you will also receive your credit reports from TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. This is great news because you will need them for future lessons. That's it. This should take you about 5 minutes, and it is your only homework for the week. One thing I want to point out before I leave you. When you visit FICO's website, you are going to be asked to purchase its monthly credit monitoring service during the checkout process. Students often ask us if they should buy the service. This depends on the type of person you are. If you are someone who likes to be very engaged in the process, sure. The service will allow you regular updates as to what your credit score is doing. When it goes up, you will be notified immediately. If you are more of a set it and forget it type of person, then don't bother with this service. When you're buying your credit scores, be sure to look for this offer. You will need to deselect the click box associated with this offer if you do not want to sign up. In closing, you must always remember that a high credit score is a powerful tool that can help you live an easier life. It is not a reflection of who you are as a person, but raising your credit score is the single best thing you can do to protect your cash, your family, and your financial future. Therefore, be sure to take each lesson seriously, complete every task, and follow the plan exactly as outlined. In doing so, you will take full control of your financial destiny.